On one of the happiest days of his life, Nathaniel Thomas stood before the woman he loved, ready to pledge forever. But as the vows were about to be spoken, something unimaginable happened. A video, one that he'd kept hidden for years, suddenly played before his fiancée and everyone else in that room. The room went silent, and his world began to fall apart. The air thickens with tension. A strange stillness creeps over the room. Layla's smile falters, confusion clouding her features. Her eyes lock onto the screen, then snap back to Nathaniel, searching for an explanation. The whispers begin, rising like a wave, as her expression turns from shock to disbelief, then betrayal. For Nathaniel, this was supposed to be the day his life changed for the better, a new beginning with the woman he wanted to spend forever with. But in that instant, everything he'd built with her, every promise he'd made, began to unravel. The video wasn't just a mistake. It was a revelation. A secret Nathaniel had buried deep within himself, something he never wanted anyone to see. But who had made sure that secret was exposed, and why now, on the one day that was supposed to be about love and new beginnings?
Welcome to Shocking True Crime. Thanks to all our viewers and subscribers for your support. Stay with us for daily updates on the most shocking true crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe.
As the video plays on, we see glimpses of Nathaniel's hidden past, a past he thought he'd left behind. But the truth can only be hidden for so long. Stay with us as we unravel the events leading up to this devastating moment. A love story turned tragedy, a secret exposed, and the search for the truth about who would betray Nathaniel Thomas on the day that should have been the happiest of his life. Date/setting, a warm, sunny Saturday in late spring. The sky is clear, the flowers are in full bloom, and the air is filled with the scent of fresh blossoms. Nathaniel Thomas, 30, and Layla Carter, 28, are about to marry in front of their closest family and friends. The reception hall is decorated with elegance, white linens, gold accents, and a cascading flower arrangement. Everyone is smiling, laughing, and sharing in the excitement of what should have been the happiest day of their lives. But how did Nathaniel, a man who seemed to have it all, love, success, and the promise of a beautiful future, end up with his deepest secret exposed in front of the people who mattered most? What was the truth that Nathaniel had spent years trying to hide, and who had the power to destroy everything in a single, catastrophic moment? The ceremony began as planned, with Layla walking down the aisle, beaming with joy, her eyes locked on Nathaniel. The love between them was undeniable, a love that seemed perfect, just like the picture-perfect day. Nathaniel's heart swelled with emotion as he stood there, eager to begin this new chapter of his life. Layla reached him at the altar, her hands trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the anticipation of the vows they were about to exchange. But then, everything changed. The reception was lively, filled with the sounds of clinking glasses, laughter, and heartfelt speeches. Nathaniel and Layla had just sat down at the head table, surrounded by their friends and family, when the moment that would alter their lives forever arrived. A projector in the corner of the room flickered to life. At first, no one thought much of it. It was just another part of the evening's celebration. But then, the video began. The crowd went silent as the images on the screen revealed a side of Nathaniel that no one had ever seen before. His secret, a part of him he had kept buried for years, was suddenly there for everyone to witness. The video showed intimate moments of Nathaniel with another man. It wasn't just a fleeting glimpse or a suggestion, it was undeniable, and it was all happening right before the eyes of his fiancée and everyone he knew. The room was frozen in disbelief. The music, once cheerful, died out in the background, replaced by the quiet hum of the projector. Layla, who had been staring at Nathaniel just moments before, now turned to look at the screen. Her face fell as her eyes widened, her heart sinking as she processed the painful truth. The shock on her face was mirrored by the guests, some of whom exchanged confused glances, others too stunned to speak. Nathaniel's world crumbled in an instant. Layla, utterly devastated, stood up from the table, tears streaming down her face as she fled the room. The atmosphere that had once been filled with love and celebration was now thick with confusion, betrayal, and heartbreak. Nathaniel was left standing there, vulnerable, exposed, and unsure of what would come next. Nathaniel Thomas, a 30-year-old man with a successful career in tech, had built a life many would envy. He was ambitious, intelligent, and driven, qualities that earned him respect in his field. But beneath the surface of his polished, confident exterior, Nathaniel carried a heavy burden. Raised in a conservative family, where tradition was valued above all else, Nathaniel struggled to reconcile his love for Layla with the truth about his identity. From a young age, he had been taught to suppress his true self, to fit into a mold that never quite felt right. It was a conflict that he carried into adulthood, even as he achieved the very things his family had always expected of him. Growing up in a strict household, Nathaniel was taught that family reputation and societal expectations came before personal happiness. His father, in particular, had big plans for him, plans that didn't leave room for deviation. As a teenager, Nathaniel learned early that his feelings toward other men were something to hide, something to bury deep inside. It wasn't until his college years that Nathaniel truly began to grapple with his identity. He met Jason, a man who became his first love. But their relationship was brief, intense, and filled with secrecy. It ended in bitterness, with Nathaniel still haunted by the memory of a love he could never fully embrace. To the outside world, Nathaniel was the perfect son, the ideal fiancé. But to those closest to him, especially his family, the man they saw was only part of the story. He was a man who had lived in the shadow of his own truth, a truth so painful and so hidden that even the woman he loved, Layla, never knew. But as the wedding day unfolded, so did the secret he'd kept locked away for years. But the question remains, who knew about Nathaniel's secret, and who would be willing to destroy his life to expose it? It was supposed to be the happiest day of Nathaniel and Layla's lives. The morning was filled with laughter as they both prepared for their big day. Layla, radiant in her gown, smiled as her friends helped her get ready. Nathaniel, with his nerves bubbling under the surface, grinned as he adjusted his suit, his thoughts drifting to the life ahead with the woman he loved. The ceremony was flawless, vows exchanged, promises made, and the couple sealed their union with a kiss. Family and friends cheered, the air thick with joy and celebration. But little did they know, everything was about to change. As the reception began, the mood shifted. Guests were chatting and laughing when suddenly, a projector flickered to life. The room fell silent. The screen revealed intimate moments between Nathaniel and Jason, his first love. Layla's smile vanished. Her face twisted from joy to confusion, then to utter disbelief. Whispers spread quickly. Some guests gasped, others looked at Nathaniel with confusion, while Layla, stunned, turned to him for answers. But Nathaniel, frozen in shock, had no words. The video, his deepest secret, had been exposed. What was meant to be a moment of celebration quickly became a scene of chaos and confrontation. The video ended, leaving the room in a hushed tension. The questions lingered: who was behind this betrayal? Was it someone from Nathaniel's past, or perhaps someone closer to home with their own hidden agenda? As Nathaniel's world shattered, Layla, heartbroken and betrayed, demanded answers. The question on everyone's mind was clear: who had exposed Nathaniel's secret on the most important day of his life? The investigation began almost immediately. Detectives and private investigators were called in to piece together what had happened. They started by interviewing wedding guests, friends, and family members, those who had been closest to Nathaniel. The deeper they dug, the more complicated things became. Everyone seemed to have a reason to be suspicious. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that there were unresolved tensions within Nathaniel's inner circle. Old friends, jealous exes, and long-buried grudges began to surface. Every suspect had their own motive. Nathaniel's college friend, Jamal, quickly rose to the top of the list. Jamal had always resented Nathaniel for moving on from their brief romantic encounter years ago. Perhaps this was a form of revenge, a final attempt to hurt him for what he'd lost. But just as the investigation seemed to close in on Jamal, a twist emerged. New evidence surfaced that pointed to someone far closer to Nathaniel, someone he never could have suspected. Layla Carter's life had been full of promise and hope. She had spent years building a future with Nathaniel, believing that their love could overcome anything. But that belief shattered in an instant, with the exposure of his secret on their wedding day. As the video played and the shock set in, Layla's world crumbled around her. Her fiancé, the man she was about to marry, had hidden a part of himself from her, and now, everyone knew. Her emotional turmoil was no longer private, it was on display for the world to see. Layla's family, her best friend Maria, and even Nathaniel's family became key players in her struggle. Each conversation felt like an interrogation, every glance weighed with judgment. While her parents tried to support her, Layla could see the disappointment in their eyes, unsure how to process the truth. Maria, once her closest confidant, now seemed distant, her own feelings about Nathaniel becoming more complicated with each passing day. As Layla navigated the pain of betrayal, she found herself torn. Could she still love Nathaniel after what he had hidden from her? The man she had trusted seemed so different now. Her heart ached for the future they had planned, but a deeper wound ran through her. Was she simply a woman deceived, or was she strong enough to forgive? Layla's choice now seems impossible. Will she confront Nathaniel with the painful truths she's learned, or will she be forced to let him go forever? As the investigation into Nathaniel's secret deepened, his family was pulled into the chaos. His father, a stern man with rigid views, reacted with anger and disappointment when he learned the truth. Nathaniel had always been the perfect son in his eyes, and this revelation shattered his image of him. His mother, however, was torn, her love for her son conflicted with the societal expectations that had been ingrained in her. She struggled to reconcile the man Nathaniel had become with the man she thought she had raised. Unexpectedly, Nathaniel's younger sister, Tiffany, became involved. Always supportive, she was forced to confront a side of her brother she had never known. Tiffany was left questioning everything, her loyalty to her family, her trust in Nathaniel, and her own understanding of who he really was. As family secrets come to light, Nathaniel begins to realize that the truth runs deeper than just a single video, it involves a web of lies, jealousy, and betrayal that may have started long before his wedding day. As the investigation into the leak intensified, all eyes turned to Nathaniel's past relationships. Detectives scoured through every detail of his life, revisiting old friends, former lovers, and even acquaintances who might have had a motive. Just as it seemed they were closing in on Jamal, Nathaniel's old college friend, a shocking truth emerged. The real leaker wasn't Jamal, as everyone had suspected. It was someone far closer to Nathaniel, Maria, Layla's best friend. Maria had secretly harbored feelings for Nathaniel for years, and her unrequited love had fueled a deep resentment. Maria, the one person Layla trusted, had been the one to destroy Nathaniel's life, driven by her unrequited love and resentment toward their relationship. Maria's confession shakes everyone in the room to their core. Layla, heartbroken and betrayed, must now face the woman she once called her best friend, and Nathaniel must find a way to rebuild his life from the ashes of his once perfect world. As Nathaniel and Layla face the wreckage of their relationship, they are left to reflect on the weight of the secrets that tore them apart. The air between them is thick with unspoken words, and both are left wondering if love can survive betrayal. Can trust ever be rebuilt, or has the damage been done beyond repair? The pain of that question lingers between them, as both grapple with the consequences of keeping their truths hidden for so long. This story forces us to confront a simple but profound truth, the cost of secrets. As Nathaniel picks up the broken pieces of his life, he must decide if redemption is possible, or if some mistakes are too great to forgive.
Welcome to Shocking True Crime. Thanks to all our viewers and subscribers for your support. Stay with us for daily updates on the most shocking true crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe.